Good afternoon. It's Monday, June 9th, 2025. As we already know, and we've all felt it, that the last several weeks have been extremely eventful here in the United States and all over the world. This morning, I woke up to a vivid prophetic dream. In that dream, I saw something that looked like would have been a tornado just level an entire community, an entire neighborhood. It looked very similar to the images that we've seen from the tornadic activity in the Midwest, in the Ohio River Valley. This extreme weather pattern that we've been seeing happen over and over again in the middle of the United States, and it seems to be creeping down into the southeastern part of the United States. It's been exactly 144 days since I had the last prophetic vision that showed a map of the United States. The vision was centered around the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri. And as we panned over to the left, I heard the words, "Remember what happened in LA." And we had already witnessed the Pacific Palisades fires and everything that had been going on surrounding that event in Hollywood. I also was drawn to the area around Tijuana. And as it panned over, we ended up around the Texas area, and I heard, "Houston, we have a problem." The dream continued to pan to the east, along the Gulf states and the Big Bend area, including Florida. I noticed that the map really emphasized that the Mississippi River was the dividing line between the west and the eastern parts of the United States. There was also attention drawn to the U.S.-Canadian border and the U.S.-Mexican border as well. That there would be some sort of crisis or even military action along the borders. Since January 16th, we've seen several events that have involved the U.S.-Canadian and the U.S.-Mexican border, including the tariff situation. It's involved the entire planet. So we've repeatedly seen severe weather patterns across the United States, especially in the Midwest, the Ohio River Valley areas, and we're starting to see more happen around the north part of Texas. It's creeping more toward the southeastern United States. One thing that was really striking, notable about that vision on January 16th was the Gateway Arch area, and then there was a wave pattern that started from the east of the Mississippi River all the way to the eastern seaboard. It was a wave pattern that I'd say the center point of it was around the Memphis, Tennessee area and up into Canada, and from the Memphis area all the way down into the southeast and into the Gulf of Mexico. And as time has gone by, we've seen that these weather patterns seem to be hovering around those areas. And we've also had a lot of political strife in those areas as well. After the prophetic dream that I had this morning, and realizing that it had so much to do with the January 16th vision that I had, I asked God to give me more clarification on what this has to do with now and the future. And I picked up my Bible and I opened it up, and when I looked at it, it opened up to Jeremiah chapter 44. And so I read Jeremiah chapter 44, and I'm going to read it to you now. This is Jeremiah chapter 44. The word that occurred to Jeremiah for all the Jews that were dwelling in the land of Egypt, the ones dwelling in Migdol and in Taphanes, and in Noth, and in the land of Pathros, saying, This is what Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, has said. You yourselves have seen all the calamity that I have brought in upon Jerusalem, and upon all the cities of Judah. And here they are a devastated place this day, and in them there is no inhabitant. It is because of their badness that they did, in order to offend me by going and making sacrificial smoke and rendering service to other gods, whom they themselves had not known, neither you nor your forefathers. And I kept sending to you all my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending, saying, Do not do, please, this detestable sort of thing that I have hated. But they did not listen, nor did they incline their ear to turn back from their badness by not making sacrificial smoke to other gods. So my rage and my anger was poured out, and it burned in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, and they came to be a devastated place, a desolate waste, as at this day. And now, this is what Jehovah, the God of armies, the God of Israel, has said. Why are you causing a great calamity to your souls, in order to cut off from yourselves man and woman, child and suckling out of the midst of Judah, so that you do not leave over yourselves a remnant, by offending me with the works of your hands, by making sacrificial smoke to other gods, and the land of Egypt into which you are entering to reside as aliens, for the purpose of causing a cutting off of yourselves, and for the purpose of your becoming a malediction and a reproach among all the nations of the earth. Have you forgotten the bad deeds of your forefathers, and the bad deeds of the kings of Judah, and the bad deeds of their wives, that they have done in the land of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? And down to this day they did not feel crushed, and they did not become afraid, nor did they walk in my law, and in my statutes that I put before you and before your forefathers. Therefore, this is what Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, has said. Here I am setting my face against you for calamity and for cutting off all Judah. And I will take the remnant of Judah who set their faces to enter into the land of Egypt, to reside there as aliens, and they will all certainly come to their finish in the land of Egypt. They will fall by the sword, and by famine they will come to their finish, from the smallest one even to the greatest one. By the sword and by the famine they will die, and they must become a curse, an object of astonishment, and a malediction and a reproach. And I will hold an accounting against those dwelling in the land of Egypt, just as I held an accounting against Jerusalem with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence. And there will come to be no escapee or survivor for the remnant of Judah, who are entering in to reside there as aliens in the land of Egypt, even to return to the land of Judah, to which they are lifting up their soulful desire, to return in order to dwell, for they will not return, except some escaped ones. And all the men who were knowing that their wives had been making sacrificial smoke to other gods, and all the wives who were standing as a great congregation, and all the people who were dwelling in the land of Egypt and Pathros, proceeded to answer Jeremiah, saying, As regards the word that you have spoken to us in the name of Jehovah, we are not listening to you. But we shall positively do every word that has gone forth from our mouth, in order to make sacrificial smoke to the Queen of the heavens, and to pour out to her drink offerings, just as we ourselves and our forefathers, our kings and our princes did in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, when we used to be satisfied with bread, and to be well off, and we did not see any calamity at all. And from the time that we cease to make sacrificial smoke to the Queen of the heavens and pour out drink offerings to her, we have lacked everything. And by the sword and by the famine, we have come to our finish. Also, when we were making sacrificial smoke to the Queen of the heavens and were disposed to pour out drink offerings to her, did we, without asking our husbands, make for her sacrificial cakes in order to make an image of her and to pour out drink offerings to her? In turn, Jeremiah said to all the people, to the able-bodied men, and to the wives, and to all the people who were answering him with a word, saying, "As for the sacrificial smoke that you made in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, you and your forefathers, your kings and your princes, and the people of the land, was it not this that Jehovah remembered that proceeded to come up into his heart?" Finally, Jehovah was no longer able to put up with it because of the badness of your dealings, because of the detestable things that you had done. And so your land came to be a devastated place, and an object of astonishment and a malediction without an inhabitant, as at this day. Because of the fact that you made sacrificial smoke, and that you sinned against Jehovah, and did not obey the voice of Jehovah, and in his law, and in his statutes, and in his reminders you did not walk. That is why there has befallen you this calamity at this day. And Jeremiah continued on to say to all the people and to all the women, "Hear the word of Jehovah, all Judah, who are in the land of Egypt. This is what Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, has said. As for you men and your wives, you women also speak with your mouths, and with your hands you people have made a fulfillment, saying, we shall without fail perform our vows that we have vowed, to make sacrificial smoke to the Queen of the heavens, and to pour out drink offerings to her. You women without fail carry out your vows, and you will without fail perform your vows. Therefore hear the word of Jehovah, all Judah who are dwelling in the land of Egypt. Here I myself have sworn by my great name, Jehovah has said, that my name will no more prove to be something called out by the mouth of any man of Judah, saying, as the sovereign Lord Jehovah is alive in all the land of Egypt. Here I am keeping alert toward them for calamity and not for good. And all the men of Judah that are in the land of Egypt will certainly come to their finish by the sword and by the famine until they cease to be. And as for the ones escaping from the sword, they will return from the land of Egypt to the land of Judah, few in number. And all those of the remnant of Judah who are coming into the land of Egypt to reside there as aliens will certainly know whose word comes true, that from me or that from them. And this is the sign for you, is the utterance of Jehovah, that I am turning my attention upon you in this place, in order that you may know that my words will without fail come true upon you for calamity. This is what Jehovah has said. Here I am giving Pharaoh Hophra, the king of Egypt, into the hand of his enemies and into the hand of those seeking for his soul, just as I have given Zedekiah, the king of Judah, into the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, his enemy and the one seeking for his soul. Many of the mechanisms that we see in social media, many of these apps and games are designed to addict you, to separate you away from humanity. It is served to accelerate the agenda of the destroyers by separating us away from each other. Since the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, the message that I've received from Spirit has been consistent, that the energetic frequency and vibration of the planet is rising at this time because God is ready to make all things new. And the superior authorities that exist on this planet, all the governments worldwide, were put in their relative positions by God. That means that the governments worldwide have a responsibility to make sure that the people under it are taken care of, that they have privileged information that they are supposed to use to enrich the lives of the people that live within their borders. The reason for these events that we're seeing now, the reasons for the events that were spoken about in Ezekiel and in Jeremiah, was when these governments forgot, was when the people forgot that their first duty was to make sure that everyone was taken care of. The afflicted, the disabled, the poor were taken care of. But what we see happening here in the United States and all over the world right now, even to greater or lesser degrees, is that these authorities are using this privileged information to enrich themselves instead of enrich everyone. The message has been consistent since the end of last year to the beginning of this year up until now, that the energetic frequency and vibration of the planet is rising because God is going to make all things new. He is continuing to make all things new right now. Anything that's of the old vibration is being uprooted and lifted away. And that is why the battle of the creators versus the destroyers is really hot right now. Since the beginning of January, we have received information that we were to build within this new vibration. Anything that is built today that is based on old information, old energy, is not going to last. Things kicked off with a bang in the month of January, and then it slowed down a bit for us to catch our breath and to realize what was really going on in the month of February. And then things started to pick up speed again in the month of March. In the month of March, we had a refocusing, focusing on creation. March was a time for us to really get clear on what we were creating in this new vibration, to really get our bearings and to get moving. And in the month of April was a chance for us to start building momentum. The month of April, we started noticing even more resistance as we started to build more momentum. And by the month of February, the battle was really hot. Now it's presentation time. And the month of June is presentation time. In numerology, the number 6 deals with a resolution of the conflict that the number 5 stands for. 5 is imbalances, in conflicts, crises that need to be resolved. Imbalances or discrepancies that are due to be reconciled. So the month of June is about reconciliation. It's about tying up all the loose ends. And even though this battle is really hot right now, the destroyers are desperate to distract the creators right now because they are afraid. They're afraid of what the creators are about to release. Even though they know that there's nothing that they can do to stop it, they're still going to double down on the gaslighting. They're going to double down on the distractions and the deception. They're going to double down on the destruction. But don't allow yourself to be distracted by the misinformation, everything flying around over social media right now. There's a fractal nature to society. The governments are made of communities. The communities are made of families. The families are made of couples. The couples are made of individuals. And within yourself even exists a duality. You have the light and the shadow aspects of yourself that must be reconciled in order for you to move and build with authenticity and truth. And that is what the destroyers are afraid of. They don't want you to find your authenticity, because anything that is created in authenticity is much more powerful. It's much stronger than anything that they can build. There is no authenticity in what the destroyers are creating. Everything created by the destroyers is made to separate you from yourself. And if they can separate you from yourself, they can separate you from humanity. They can separate you from nature. And if they separate you from humanity and from nature, then everything that is your birthright, they can take. And that is why the battle of the creators versus the destroyers is hot right now. But there's about to be a resolution. And then there's about to be a refocusing. And there's about to be a moving forward from the end of June to the beginning of July. And when we get about to the month of August and we know a new direction, we're figuring out a new direction. And when all that's not working has been leveled and we finally see what's what and how to build, and people feel comfortable again, in the month of August, we are going to be moving forward with speed. You're going to notice that from the month of June to the month of August is going to go like a whirlwind. There's going to be a really surprise development that's going to take place at a time when everything is looking hopeless. It's really important to stay in your vibration of authenticity right now. Don't let all of these distractions cause you to doubt yourself or not know who you are or why you're here right now. Focus in on what you love. Focus in on what makes you happy and not what makes you afraid. Build things that are based on service to humanity and not things that cause people to be separated. That's where the value is going to be in your creations. That's what the destroyers are so afraid of. But the tipping point happens right now, right about now. Just continue to hold your frequency. Continue to be grateful for what you have around you right now. And continue to put faith in God that He's going to provide all your needs at this time when the destroyers are trying to make you have to go without. The destroyers are desperate to stop the creators from releasing what they're going to release this year. So everything that you're seeing right now, it's an act of desperation because the energy's already been poured out from the sun. We've already reached the end of solar maximum, so the sun has already poured the bulk of the energy into the earth that it's going to pour in this solar cycle 25. So now the energy that we are feeling is energy that is actually coming up from within the earth. And so we're going to notice more seismic activity happening now that the sun has released the energy. We're going to notice more volcanoes, more earthquakes. I've been feeling a lot of shaking going on, a lot of churning in the earth. There's going to be more severe weather going on right now. And the powers that be knew that this was going to happen. They already had information that this was going to happen. That is why they pulled away funding from the National Hurricane Service, the National Weather Service. That is why they're pulling away money from everything that we would need in a time of crisis. Because all of this was due to occur. It was all part of the plan. But it doesn't matter what they do. Allow them to do what they will do, because people are being judged right now based on their frequency and vibration. And what you frequently do determines your frequency. So hold your frequency. Don't lose your joy. Don't lose your happiness. Hold your frequency. Continue to trust that God is working things out, that He's making everything new. And in order for you to experience everything new, you have to allow yourself to grow with the frequency, because you can't pour new wine into old wineskins.